You're going to love this. Trust me. What you're seeing now is my normal state. This is a Super Saiyan. And this is what is known as a Super Saiyan that has ascended past a Super Saiyan. Or you could just call this a Super Saiyan 2.
What's a useless transformation? Your eyes are red and glowing, so what?
Has he really found a way to surpass an ascended Saiyan? Is that possible?
He must be bluffing.
And this is to go even further beyond!
It's been nearly 2 months since FromSoftWare and BandaiNamco released a harder version of Night Rain called The Deep of Night, which, you guessed it, makes the game a whole lot more challenging and rewarding. Now I'm sure if you've clicked on this video, that means you have a pretty good idea of what Deep of Night is all about, as again, it's been nearly 2 months, so I'll speed through everything that's new and different about it, so then we can move on to the good stuff. Instead of having the option to pick a Night Lord and shifting Earth events, the game now randomizes whatever Night Lord and disaster you're gonna deal with alongside whether or not said Night Lord is ever there. Deep of Night also has a ranking system where you lose and gain elo depending on whether or not you fail or succeed in a run, with 5 stages called depths. Depth 1 being practically the same as a normal run, and depth 4 being you mother. You're gonna. By the way, aside from making everything hit harder and have more health, reaching higher depths also results in a bigger chance of whatever Night Lord you're facing being Everdark too. If you're playing with multiple people on different depths, then the game tries to start a match with a depth that's averaged out. At least, I think that's how it works, and if not, then I assume the game just looks at whoever has the lowest depth and starts a match that's that same depth. And if I'm wrong, blow me up. Additionally, the game could hide key points on the map and even the Night Lords themselves until the very end on rare occasions, so good luck trying to prepare for a threat you don't even know the nature of, Boccarino! Though technically you can figure out who it is by just knowing which end of day boss belongs to which Night Lord, with there being an exception for Holstor because you could guess any end of day boss when it's him. At least, I think that's how it works. And if I'm wrong, kill me. When you're on an expedition, there's gonna be a couple red enemies and bosses to fight. They're basically tougher variants of normal enemies that give you more runes and equipment pieces, which have 2 passives instead of 1, but also come with a drawback. By the way, unique armaments, which are a new type of weapon rarity despite being almost the exact same as rare armaments but strawberry flavored, always have 2 passives and 1 drawback, just like these. And speaking of drawbacks, Deep of Night allows you to have 3 more relic slots for these new deep relics with their own unique passives, which could have negative side effects as well. Alright, that covers basically everything. At least, I think so. Anyways, now that we've seen what Deep of Night is and what's so different about it, I think most of us can say that it's a pretty good addition to the game, which almost completely changes the way you'd normally play it whilst keeping things fresh and spicy. It creates a nice goal you try to pursue whilst making you slowly but fully understand how every Nightfarer plays and what they work best with to truly call yourself great at it. I say it's so good, in fact, that the average Night Rain player will be motivated to play for another 100 hours thanks to it, but there are some pretty major and frustrating issues that I haven't seen anyone talk about when making a review of this mode, which are important enough to be addressed. The first one being how bullshit and unfair the ranking system is. Sometimes it gives you a good chunk of elo every time you win, whilst deducting a pretty fair amount whenever you lose as well. And other times it says, go fuck yourself, dumbass, and cry in a corner somewhere, you waste of oxygen. Or you could win only for it to say no. Just no. Simply put, the ranking system is severely bugged and poorly designed. Also, trust me when I say that most of the time this happens completely out of nowhere for no reason. It's not some kind of punishment for quitting or cheating or anything like that. And even when there is a reason for it, like for example losing a bunch of elo due to an early day 1 defeat, or due to you being in a match with a lower depth than what you're currently at, the game takes way too much. This is one of, if not the biggest problem with this mode. When you're severely punishing people for losing and sometimes even winning whilst not rewarding them enough anytime they snatch a victory, that's gonna result in them feeling discouraged to play after a while. This issue has gotten so bad that I, alongside side, many people, I'd imagine, have just started playing solo runs to accumulate a decent amount of elo because you're less likely to be hit with bullshit and because you can just alter for your way out of losing anything whilst avoiding randoms and opting to only play with friends sometimes, so that at least when you get screwed over by the game, you have a nice little safety net. Fight fire with fire, baby! Another problem with this mode is the respawning. For some reason, when you die, the game could occasionally ruin you with an exceptionally long black loading screen of death. Like, instead of just respawning peacefully upon death, you'd sometimes straight up wait like anywhere from 30 seconds all the way up to a full minute while slowly losing your sanity and going bald from pulling your hair out. Why? I don't know, it's probably either just a bug or poor optimization or both, and this happens in solo mode as well, so it can't be a matter of internet connection. Even worse is the fact that on most occasions, once you inevitably respawn, the game just puts you wherever the hell it wants. You could perish, either wait forever to respawn or respawn immediately, only to discover that you're 50 light years away from where you died. I think I speak for everyone when I say it is an absolute injustice that whatever baboon FromSoftWare decided to hire for making the respawn locations in this game is most likely living a nice, peaceful, and healthy life, completely unaware of all the pain and suffering we've had to endure because of him. Burn him at the stake! Nothing's more frustrating than dying due to making one single honest mistake, waiting for your long-ass death animation and you died message to pop up and disappear, only to be hit with this and this. Remember, the clock always ticks, and you have a very limited amount of time to do things, so this is especially detrimental. At this rate, you might as well have Michael Zaki jump at me through the screen and roast me. Yet another problem is just how abysmally awful the lock-on system is in this game. I mean, practically every Souls game known to man has suffered from some problems with locking on to some extent, but I swear to every holy grease I've ever owned that it's especially bad in Night Rain. Look at this! Why can't you just focus on what's in front of you? Why can't you just let me stay focused on one dude instead of randomly deciding to switch? I can unfocus my gaze on an enemy and focus on another myself. It's not even like a difficult problem to fix in the slightest either. I bet you another 5 slices of bread that someone on Nexus mods either already has or can make a mod that solves this bullshit in like 5 seconds max. Speaking of things that could and should be resolved relatively quickly, I'd like you to take a fine look at this clip. And this one. And this one too. You notice anything? That's right, folks. What you just witnessed was pure and utter dog water. Instead of our poor yet handsome Nightfarer's dodges counting, the game instead said no. Why and how does this happen every so often? God knows, man, but what we do know is that this has resulted in run-ending deaths both during solo, duo, and trio expeditions. Which also proves that there's no way in any way, shape, or form that it is tied to internet quality. Especially because I've got that high-quality fiber. In conclusion, I have never seen such bullshit before, and now I want someone's head chopped off.
Actually, if you take a closer look at these clips, you notice how you nudge too late to get in the last possible moment while surrounding animation's existence is merely a visual bug that happens despite you pressing too late.
I can assure you that you're wrong, even though I can't deny that upon closer inspection, such a theory could definitely be right. This has happened a lot of times, and during plenty of those instances, you certainly would agree that it's undeniably buggy bullshit due to it being more clear, and it's just that I really can't prove it much, and this is the best I have because the game gained some sort of sentience when trying to record this bullshit, but just trust me, during these instances I was robbed, scammed, and bamboozled, and the other instances would have proven it, except like I said, I wasn't recording it and stuff to do this intentionally, and now you think I'm crazy, and... Just give me this break and let's move on, please. Let's also not forget how, although making enemies tougher and stronger works for the most part, sometimes it results in you losing unfairly. Like being one-shot by a random-ass guardian golem 20 miles away, like how a bishop snipes your ass in chess, or getting bullied by the knocked duo's insanely fast attacks that you simply can't dodge or predict reasonably, which originally wasn't a major problem due to their low damage, or you're just encountering a boss that's just so freakishly strong they one-shot you with most of their attacks despite being decently high level unless you've had some of these things to help you out, which aren't guaranteed. Or the Tibia Mariner fights deciding to play out like this. Seriously, this fight's inconsistent as heck. Why can't you just wait until I kill the damn mariner so then you can have your own turn once the Deathrite bird spawns in? If y'all were gonna jump me, at least don't go all at once. Now I could come up with more examples, but I think you get the picture by now. Again, whilst making enemies tougher usually works out in this case, some exceptions need to be made, otherwise sooner or later people are gonna be fed up with certain dudes pissing them off either because of their mere existence or the need to fight them or both. So those were my main complaints, but there are a couple more which I'm gonna go through quickly since I consider them to be nitpicks. Those are you dying right as certain night adversaries were about to spawn in, resulting in them leaving immediately without ever having a chance to fight them, certain passives and curses on relics and equipment being complete pieces of soap, dying and having your money eaten by an enemy 45 Miyazakis away from where you perished, end of day bosses hogging the border like the tryhards they are sometimes, and the developers not adding new enemies or bosses. Okay, that last one's kinda unreasonable given that Night Rain will most likely have a full-on DLC with completely new stuff within it, so yeah. Now, if you've been paying attention this entire time instead of just listening to me talk in the background whilst playing some video game... Oh, he's AFK. Well, easy one, I guess. Or falling asleep, you'd notice how some of these aren't just problems with Deep of Night, but with the game in general. But they're still worth bringing up, given that in the normal mode, said problems don't problem too problematically. But due to this mode being that much tougher, these issues become a lot more apparent and difficult to deal with. And while I usually like to give FromSoft the benefit of the doubt whenever there's a glaring issue with their games, it's been nearly 2 goddamn months since this shit came out, so yeah, I don't think they'll resolve it anytime soon. But regardless, there is a reason why I have well over 200 hours in this game. Despite these frustrations I and many others have with it, there's no denying that Night Rain is still an honest to god masterpiece. The gameplay loop never gets old, especially when you're playing with your pals, as you should. I mean, it's a co-op game after all. The Night Lords are fucking cinema, the Nightfarers are very special and unique with a surprising level of effort put into them, and overall, I think it's safe to say that nobody expected this game to be anywhere near as good as it ended up being. I mean, a $40 side project that turns Elden Ring into a roguelike with Dark Souls bosses added to it sounds like a drunken fever dream idea, and yet it works so unbelievably well. Now, if you'd excuse me, I need to take care of a certain someone. Well, if it isn't you again, the bell-bearing hunter. Or should I say, Elm. After all, no one else could possibly achieve such a form. Anyhow, let's get this over with.